Hi everyone. So now the dust has settled on the budget, thought I'd do our quick usual update on how the budget has affected business owners and the main points to note from a point of view of business owners out there. So first point to note is the national minimum wage changes coming in from April next year. So the raises were for 16 to 17-year-olds an 18% rise to £7.55. Then to 18 to 20, 16.3% rise to £10, and over 21, 6.7% rise to £12.21. So from a business owner's perspective, what do we need to think about? Obviously, this means costs are going up, especially if your workforce is on the minimum wage or close to it. You're going to need to revise forecasts or do a forecast and plan ahead. So what is your wage bill going to be next year? How do these costs affect you? So it's really planning. Also, you could look into efficiencies. Are you getting the most out of your current team? Could you introduce AI possibly to save time for your current team at a fraction of the cost of an employee possibly? So all those things to look at. Also, you might need to consider, do you need to raise prices to be able to cope with the increased costs? Now, as these are coming in April, if you know what your business is going to look like in April, you could perhaps stage your price increases over the coming months, so it's not as big an impact all at once on your customer base. So those are the things to consider there. Next point to consider is also on a wage front, unfortunately, with the possible increase in your employer's national insurance bill. So the changes here are it's going from 13.8% to 15%. And what the biggest impact is that the rate of pay when you start having to pay employers national insurance is reduced from £9,100 to £5,000. So anyone with a salary above £5,000, you'll now pay 15% national insurance on their salary above £5,000. So this could be a positive for some businesses, because if you're a smaller employer, you also get an increased national insurance allowance. So all employers now get this allowance increase, which has gone from £5,000 to £10,500. So that big increase for smaller employers actually can shift it so that you actually save money with these changes. And that's what I've noticed for a few of my clients, is that the changes to national insurance have actually saved them money because they're a smaller employer, 3-4 employees. But for larger employers, you're almost certainly facing a cost increase, unfortunately. What we've done to help with this, to help calculate the national insurance differences, is we produced a spreadsheet which you can just plug in the revised levels of your gross salaries. So you'll just need to calculate what you're going to be paying your staff from April next year. Plug that into the spreadsheet and it will show you what your national insurance bill will be in the next year and how that compares to what it is now. So it will give you the impact of the change on your business. If you want that spreadsheet, just pop me a message if you're a client, or comment on this below if you're not a client, and we'll send it over to you. And you can use the spreadsheet. There's a video guide on the spreadsheet to help you know how to use it and explain it. So if you want that one, just let me know. But again, for employers, what can we do about it? It's about planning, similar to the national minimum wage change. You've got to consider the same things, really. And action the same points. Is similar effects on businesses and similar things that you can do to try and mitigate it. Next one that impacts business owners potentially when you come to exit your business is the changes to capital gains tax. There's a change to business asset disposal relief, which is a relief. It used to be called entrepreneurs relief. So it's a relief that business owners get when you sell your business, as long as you meet the qualifying terms. The old rate of capital gains on your business sale was 10%. Now that's changed to 14%, and then in 2026, 18%. So the planning point here is, if you are thinking of exiting your business anytime soon, you may want to consider trying to speed up that exit and sale to pay a lower rate of capital gains tax. So that's that change. And also there was a rise in the base rates of capital gains tax. So they're now 20 and 24%, where there used to be 10 and 18%. So on all capital disposals, whether it's a business or not, you're likely to pay more tax now when you sell them. Next update is on business rates. There was a drop in the rate of the relief for retail, leisure and hospitality businesses, who currently get 75% relief on business rates. Next year it will be 40%. So that's a 35% drop in relief. Again, an increased cost for these businesses who are also likely going to be hit hard by the employer's national insurance changes and national minimum wage changes, especially hospitality, because they tend to have high employment rates and a lot of lower wage employees. So it's going to be a big difference for them. So again, what can you do here? Plan ahead, know what costs are going to look like next year, and then do what you can to make the business still work for you. And just plan ahead, know where you are. If you know your numbers, you can make changes and try to implement things before these things kick in. Next one to talk about is a change in benefit in kinds, and the main one to note is on double cab pickups. Now, in the past, HMRC have always classed these as a van if they had a 1 ton payload or more. That is now going to change, but only for new purchases. So if you already have a double cab pickup and you're being taxed on the benefit as a van, that will continue, but only until 2019 or until the point you dispose of it. So the main planning point here is if you do have a double cab pickup, to plan for that change. And because the benefit on a car is a lot higher than a benefit on a van, you may want to consider a change of your business vehicle to have a vehicle that qualifies as a van, or potentially consider an electric vehicle or a very efficient hybrid. They are much better on benefit in kinds. So that's what you can do on that point. Next one to talk about is the IHT changes. Now, these come in obviously for inheritance tax purposes. What the changes are is on business property relief and agricultural property relief. Previously, if you qualified under these reliefs, 100% of the proceeds were out of your estate and not subject to inheritance tax. Now they've introduced a £1 million limit on this, meaning if you had a business or a farm that's valued at over £1 million, the balance of that estate over £1 million will be subject to the inheritance tax and part of your estate. So what can we do here? Again, it's planning. There are measures you can take whilst you're alive, mainly to mitigate inheritance tax, and plan ahead how you can leave your estate to your next generation in the most tax efficient way. Most of the time, it's taking advantage of the gifting while you're alive rules. So what changes for business owners and farm owners now is you're going to have to consider possibly gifting part of your business whilst you're alive, so that your value of your estate falls below the £1 million limit for the business and the farm. So it's just talking to your accountant about this and planning ahead. If you have a business or farm worth more than £1 million, there is a change now for the inheritance tax position on your estate. And the last one I just wanted to mention was the changes in stamp duty for second home purchases. That has risen 2% to up to 5%. And what can we do here is, if you're thinking of investing in property and it's just going to be a second home, you're going to have to weigh up the potential capital deployed on the investment, because that's going to increase, and weigh up, is it worthwhile still? Are you getting enough return on investment with the increased capital outlay to make it a worthwhile investment for you? And consider, if it's the best place to use your money. So I hope that helps. That covers the main points and how they're going to affect business owners. If you need any help with this, please don't hesitate to contact us. We're happy to help cover off any points mentioned. Thank you.